Hello, animation students. Welcome once again to our another demonstration video related to 2D animation. And in this video, I'm going to demonstrate the difference between post-to-post animation and straight-ahead animation. Now, these are two animation principles included in the 12 principles of animation. So right now, I'm going to demonstrate the difference between these two. And at the same time, while doing a demonstration, I am going to address the rest of the principles of animation. All right. Okay. So let's say, for example, we have a jumping person. Let's say, for example, the person is going to jump from this platform going down to this floor. Okay. Now we have to decide what will be the key poses of these character. So by now, I assume that you know what key poses are. So key poses are the most important poses of a character that conveys a certain action. All right. And then after you draw the key poses, you draw the in-betweens. Okay. All right. So we have to decide first what are the key poses of our character. So let's say, for example, the person is standing above this platform. We have to decide the first pose first. Okay, so let's say I decided that the character will be standing here. Okay, so I've created a layer for the background. This one. This is the layer containing the background. So let me just rename this one as BG. And then we have to determine, of course, before we draw, we have to determine how long is going to be the scene. Okay. So for instance, let's make an estimate. Let's, for instance, make this 70 frames. So this is how long, at least in our estimate, this is how long our scene is going to take place. All right. So now, okay, this is supposedly a blank keyframe right here. Okay. By default, you are going to start with a blank keyframe and you have to rename this layer as character or character roughs. Okay. Okay. So right here, I'm going to draw a character. A standing character here in the platform. So I'm just gonna use the color blue, the blue ink. And so I'm gonna draw the character. So he's standing above the platform. Now it's up to you. I mean, depending on the story, that will be the posing of your character. Normally the key poses are already illustrated on the storyboard. So there goes our character. So I'm gonna put a shade on the left limbs, indicating that it is far away from the camera. Okay, so that's our key pose. Now we have to ask ourselves, when is this character going to move? Okay, so to answer that question, we have to decide what part of the timeline are we going to change the movement, or rather change the posing of the character. Okay, so let's say, for example, I decided that the character is going to move here at frame 20. Okay, so that is when I'm going to create a new drawing and insert blank keyframe. And when you on the onion skin, you're going to see the character right there, the previous drawing. Now I'm going to draw the second key pose. Now, the anticipation is non-negotiable, almost non-negotiable. When you create your animation, you're going to ask yourself, you're going to include almost automatically the anticipation. You're gonna ask yourselves, what would be the anticipation of be? So in this case, the anticipation for this character is that he's going to bend over. Okay? In Tagalog, it's called buelo. So bumubuelo yung character natin. Okay? So sabihin na natin, pupunta dito yung character natin. And ayan yung ulo niya. That is where the head is. And so it's okay. We can make the foot slide a bit just to compensate for the posing. So medyo nag-foot slip siya na ganyan, ano? But the other one is planted. So yan. Okay. And maybe his arm is a little bit raised in this manner. So as you can see, we're just doing the rough sketch of our character. It's just a rough sketch because we're just trying to capture the motion. We're not concerned about the details at this point. So if you scroll the playhead, so you can see the foot is sleeping. That's okay. The left foot, that's quite okay. Okay. So, all right. So that's one key pose and the second key pose right here. Okay. Then the third key pose would be, I think, will be something like this. No? So at this point, okay, the person has stretched himself as he begins to jump. So let's put him here. Okay, he's stretching a little bit. So medyo nagsa-stretch siya, no? So that's his third key pose. Okay. So he's about to jump. Okay, and then probably the next key pose would be something like this. Insert blank keyframe. Activate the onion skin. Okay, let me just put them closer together. These drawings. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna you can just trace the head because it's ugly when the head is changing in size. Okay, and of course you can see the arc of this character. Let's put him here. Okay, I can't decide where to put this person. So I'll just put him here. Okay, so And probably the posing will be something like this. Okay, I'm just fixing the proportion of my character. So, so let's play. So there's movement already. Okay. Okay, maybe you can just resize this a little bit. Okay. So these are the initial key poses. Okay, then next we could probably draw the other pose, which is he's already touching the ground. Okay, so I've just traced back the head and probably put him right here. All right, and so as you can see, we're not really completing the details of the character because we're just capturing the flow of his movement. So okay, so let's play him. Let's play the animation. So you can see the initial key poses, right? So maybe we can just select this one, resize it a little bit. All right. And then as soon as when he touches the ground, he's going to squash. So he's going to sort of crouch. So insert blank keyframe. Here we go. Probably his head will be in this position right here. However, this will be his pose. Okay, so his hand is going to raise in this manner. It's going to elevate in that manner, similar to the crouch. The crouch on this one a while ago. So his left hand probably will go here. So we can just change his size. Right, so then after he squashes, after he crouch, he's going to get up. And of course, we are going to activate the onion skin once again. I'm going to trace back the head, probably put him here. Okay, so let's just modify the size of this character. Okay, I think that's good enough. All right, so we can extend this a little bit further here. So we can see how it looks like. So let's play. These are all key poses. So as you can see, it's already moving, but the problem is it is jerky. So our next move is to smoothen the movement of this character. Okay. So there's anticipation, which is almost automatic when you animate. It is almost non-negotiable, meaning to say it should be present all the time, almost all the time. And then it leaves, as it leaves the platform, he begins to stretch. Okay, so that's our initial key pose. Okay, now we're going to work on the in-betweens at this point. So from this one to this one, we have to put an in-between for the anticipation. So I'm going to add a blank keyframe here and then activate the onion skin. And just for the sake of being different, meaning to say just for you to be able to distinguish the in-betweens, I'm going to change colors. So let's say I'm going to change it to red and probably trace my drawing right here. So it follows an arcing motion. I mean the head. And this is the in-between. And this is the in-between for the legs. It actually slides as he opens his leg to get a better leverage of the jump. Oh, by the way, make sure all the layers are locked. So in this case, my background layer is locked. So the hand goes here because it's the in-between. And probably the other hand goes here. So we have this. So we can add more in-betweens between these two drawings. So maybe we can add, okay, so we have to extend first the exposure by pressing F5, or that's the shortcut for insert frame. And then insert blank keyframe right here. And let's put in some in-betweens. Or rather in between because it's singular. So there goes your head. Okay, so we have addressed the in-betweens for the anticipation. So he begins to anticipate and then he jumps. You can add in between here, but for me, there's no need to add in between here because it's going to slow the animation. So I'm just going to put in between these two drawings right here. And so with that being said, I'm going to extend the exposure and then put some in-betweens right here, insert blank keyframe. So the predominant command that I'm employing is insert blank keyframe. So you see this person right here. I mean, he's got a smaller head. So ayan, inayos lang natin yung ano natin, yung person na yan. So anyway, all right. So balik tayo sa red. And, going to draw an in-between pose right here. That probably looks like this. So at this point, maybe we cannot see the hand, the other hand. Okay, so I don't think there's a need to do that. So let's see. So we can actually exaggerate this key pose by elongating him. So you can already see the arc, the fluidity of the drawing. So maybe we can add another in between here. Insert blank keyframe. Maybe we can just trace the whole thing. And then let's put this person right here. So you can see the arc. Oh no. All right. So what are we trying to do here is we're putting in betweens, like what I've said. We're putting in betweens on our key poses. So okay, may inaayos lang ako. So anyway, ayan. So we've just put some in-betweens. And of course, this one, we can put in-betweens here between these two. Okay. Can exaggerate him a bit. So we can add an in-between right here. F7 for insert blank keyframe. And then, of course, I'm going to trace back the head and put it right here. So you can see that arc right here. It should be a little bit curvy. The motion, I mean the motion. Okay. So all right, so the arm is going to be right here as it prepares to settle. So gradually our animation is beginning to smoothen. And then of course, we need in between here. Okay, so F7. I mean, we can press F5 first and then F7. F7 and then insert blank keyframe, which is the predominant command that we're using. Oh. Okay. Nope. Clear keyframe. Okay, right here. So let's use the red ink. And let's draw the in-between pose of this movement wherein he begins to settle down. Okay, so here's our flow together with the in-betweens. The in-betweens are in red ink and the key poses are in blue. Okay, so far the flow of our animation is good, right? Okay, I think that's fine. So, all right, the next thing we do is we're going to fix the timing of our character. And as you notice right here, if you move further, the background vanishes. So you have to press F5 to extend the background. Okay. So how many drawings do we have here? Okay, so let's play it and let's see if we are satisfied with the timing. It's quite okay, but let's just say, for instance, I want to pause the character for the anticipation. So that will entail me to extend the exposure of this part of the timeline. And so to be able to do that, I'm going to press F5. And then as soon as he lands, he is going to pause a little bit and then he settles. Okay, so again, make sure the background is at par. I mean extended in the same manner with the character roughs. So let's play it. Okay, I think we're good with it. It's a good animation right there. So what we did with this character is we applied the pose-to-pose principle of animation. And not only that, right here, we saw the anticipation, which is also an animation principle. And as soon as he jumps, we can see another animation principle, which is the arc. And then he squashes again when he lands as he crouches. That is squash and stretch. Actually, anticipation could be a form of squash and stretch. It can also be a form of exaggeration. It is another principle of animation. All right. So okay, he lands. Maybe we can reduce the frame exposure of this one. Maybe we can make it singles. No, it's too fast. I think it's too fast. So I'm okay with the doubles. Okay, so there goes your animation. Now, we're going to put some effects on this one. Let's say, for example, the ground, there's a smoke that billowed as he hit the ground. Okay, so straight ahead animation is applicable for effects. Okay, in post-to-post animation, we normally determine the end pose and the starting pose and the end pose of each movement. In the straight ahead, it's not the case. It's not a case of drawing the starting pose and the end pose. So if you remember here in Jumper, or as you can see here, we started with the starting pose and the end pose. This is an end pose. This end pose is a starting pose for this one. Okay. So starting pose, end pose. Now this is a starting pose for this one. Okay. So we have a couple of movements right here. It's one movement, second movement, third movement, and fourth movement. So we have an overall 4 movements of this character. Okay. And let's say there's going to be a smoke or a dust billowing from his feet as he lands on the floor. With that, I'm going to add another layer, and this will be the effects, the dust. All right, so we have to ask ourselves, we have to determine what part of these timeline is, what area in this timeline is there going to be a smoke. So when is the start? When is the smoke start to appear? Okay. So saan siya magsisimulang lumabas? Okay. And I can't speak in perfect English. So let's say for instance, we decided that the smoke will start to appear at frame number 38. This is your indicator right here. So if that's so, you're going to press F7, which means blank keyframe. So I'm going to maybe put some, I'm going to make it grayish in color. So let's say this is the dust. Okay, let's start small. Okay, so okay, and instead of worrying about the end pose, I just go along because such effect is unpredictable. Okay, right here. Let's just continue with this. Then F7. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Bam. You see that? Okay, so let's say the smoke or the dust is going to dissipate. So it starts to dissipate here. So para siyang si Saitama, di ba? Siya naman hindi siya si Saitama, si Maitama. Siya si Maitama. So, okay, so start to dissipate right here. Okay, so gradually nagdi-dissipate na siya. Yan. Okay, so if you want this dust to totally disappear, because right here it doesn't disappear, all you have to do is press F7 right here. Right here. Bam. So here comes our character. He jumps from a platform. And there you go. You saw the effect. Okay. Uh, all right. So let's say this character has a cape. Okay. So I'm going to draw a cape and just to address the overlapping action. Okay. So okay, I'm going to lock all the layers and maybe I'm going to put the cape layer behind, at the bottom of this character roughs layer. So I'm just going to add new layer, and then probably I'm going to just for you to be able to distinguish the drawing, I'm going to put it green. I'm going to make it green. So right at this moment, I'm going to draw right here. Okay. So let's say the cape looks something like this. All right. And then, of course, when you move the character, the cape begins to move. So let's see. Okay, so you can see the cape. Okay. So we are using the principle of animation called straight ahead animation with this one. Okay. Now, as soon as the character stops, I mean, when the character stops, the cape continues to move, and that's what you call overlapping action. Okay. So, I mean, when the main body has stopped moving, even for a while, and then other parts of his body is still moving because of that initial movement. I mean, it's called overlapping action. So the cape should overlap. It should continue to move because it has momentum. So probably it's going to end up here. F7. Okay, there you go. And then, of course, we draw a new cape here. The cape will be stretched downwards as the person pulls up. So, okay, and then right here, F7. Then for the rest of the commands, I'm going to use the F7. That's escape right there. Maybe we can edit this a little bit more. All right, so until the end, we're going to draw the cape now. F7, and then the cape will somehow start to bend. Right there. Okay, F7. There's a drag right here. Okay, because of the momentum. So there's a drag. So the cape is being left behind. It has a delayed motion. And then, of course, it continues to move right here. The character momentarily stops as he begins to settle, but the cape, because of the momentum, is still moving. Okay. And then, of course, at this point, the cape is going to follow him right here. Okay, F7. The cape is going to sway a little bit more because of the delaying action and because of the momentum of the whole animation of the person. Oh, sorry, I'm going to change the orientation of the cape to this one. So there's a little bit of drag right here. So, and then he flicks. I mean, the cape flicks at this side. And he continues to move. I mean, the cape continues to move because of the momentum. Okay, it continues to move further, maybe until this point. Okay. And then it begins to settle down backwards. I mean, it begins to settle at this direction. Okay, so there goes your cape. Okay, let's just polish it a little bit back. So, okay, let's scroll the playhead again. So let's play it again. So there you go. There goes your overlapping action, which is demonstrated by the movement of the cape. Okay. So we have the anticipation, which is a form of exaggeration also. And squash and stretch can also be an anticipation. And then we have the arc, we have the stretch, we have the settle, and we have the overlapping action. And sometimes the overlapping action is called secondary action. All right, so And then you can see the smoke, I mean the dust billowing from the floor as he lands on it. Okay, so again, and again. Let's just put some additional details right here to make it more dramatic. So ayan, yan yung character natin, di ba? So sino ba yan? Si Saitama ba yan? O si Maitama? So let's play. And i-loop natin siya. Yan. Play. Ayun, no? So you can see the cape. It's beautiful. And the special effects on the ground. So in our next video, maybe we're going to clean this character up. Okay. Okay, until next time, I'm gonna see you in our next demonstration video. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing.